I didn't get a notification, which people should get when I go live through Facebook, but it looks like there may be issues with Facebook this morning. So it's kind of a good thing that, it's happening today and not other days, because this is not your typical morning chat room. Today I'm going to be just live streaming. Oh, there we go. Notification went through. So we're good. Sorry about that. And I know I'm a little later than usual. So what I'm going through today, I have a speaking engagement later on today. So I'm really just running through what I'm going to be talking about. That's why I don't have a quote up on the stream today. We're not doing the typical morning chat room. If you guys want to talk, I'd still love to see you guys come through. Say good morning, say hello. If you have anything you want to, say about my presentation, if you want to give critique, or if you have questions as I'm going through it, things like that, still please ask, or say something if you want to say something, and drop the links. I still really appreciate you guys being here, and no, hopefully you get some value out of this. So to give you an idea of what it is, so this is for a nonprofit organization called Lit Conversations, and what they do is talk to high school kids about opportunities and different career paths in those opportunities. So today I'm going to be talking, the first half of it is all about the construction industry. And so for about 10 minutes, I'm going to be talking about different paths they can take in the construction industry and the opportunities in those areas. And I really think there's so many opportunities, and really fits any personality type, whether you look to work in the office, work with a small group of people, or work with a lot of people and work outside. And so we'll be talking about the construction industry in general, different paths, opportunities, and then the last half of it, they're not children, they're high schoolers. So good morning, everybody. Like I said, if you're just coming in, not your typical morning chat room. I'm going through a speech I'm going to be giving later, a little presentation for a high school, talking to them about opportunities in the career path that I chose, civil engineering and the construction industry in general. So you're still welcome to come in, sit in, and if you comment, I really greatly appreciate any likes, comments, and any critique you have on my presentation. So I'll just jump right to it. So first thing I'm going to do is say good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I really, need to start out and say thank you, thank you, thank you. It's such a great opportunity to speak with you all. It's nice to talk to a group in Massachusetts. I actually grew up in Massachusetts, near the Webster Dudley area, so it's awesome to be back. I've lived in New York, in upstate New York, for the past 9 years, but still, whenever I go back to Massachusetts, it really feels like home. So it's nice to speak with you all. I've never been to Notre Dame, but what I saw through what I got to know about Notre Dame, it really looks like a beautiful school with dedicated students. So really, really, really excited to share this information with you. So I want to start out, the rest of this presentation is going to be all about you guys. I want to start out asking a couple questions. Please don't be shy. Please raise your hand and let me know. So the first question I want to ask is, how many of you have no idea what career path you want to take out of high school? And then, and this is just me thinking to myself, I'm assuming there's a lot of students that are in that category. And then the second question I'm going to ask is, okay, how many of you have a career path in mind, but aren't, you might be, 90% sure, but you still have doubt, and you're still thinking of, different paths that you could take. And so, again, this is kind of my thoughts behind that. Between those two questions, I feel like that'll cover most of the students. Most of the students will be in one of those two categories. So that's the great thing about why I'm here today. What Lit Conversations does is we really try to educate you all on different career paths and the different opportunities in those career paths, so you can make an educated decision on where you want to go out of high school. So it's nothing that I had, growing up, when I didn't really know what civil engineering was until I joined the program in college. And even then, it was really once I got into an internship and started working in the field, I really got to understand everything that I'm going to be showing you today about the construction industry. So I'm a civil engineer, I'm a field construction manager, and on the side, I am also a self-published author. So I'll be talking about all of those things. First, I really want to give you guys the bulk of what the construction industry entails, the different opportunities in those areas, and then I'll go over, my work as an author, and also talk about things addressing the questions that you guys had sent over. So let's get right to it. And just so you guys know, if you're watching this on the live stream right now, this isn't exactly how I'm going to have it set up. I'm not going to have my typical stream look, and the way this presentation is going to look, it's not going to look the same. But please, if you're watching, if you have any critique, anything you want to add, anything you want to say, please do. So, and still, like I said, any likes, comments, I really appreciate you guys for being here, and it means a lot. So let's run through it. So in the construction industry, there's really three paths that you can take. You can be a general contractor. You can work for a general contractor. You can work for a construction manager, and you can work as a engineer. And going through the civil engineering path and getting a degree, I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. I really could have taken any one of these approaches, and I've had the pleasure of working with all three, and that's why I feel I can talk to you guys about all the opportunities within those areas and really cover it all. So starting with Kenneth said, when I was graduating, I also had no idea what to do next. All the best to our aspiring professionals in civil engineering and all other fields. We can figure this out. Yeah. No, I really love what this organization is doing, so I wanted to get involved with it. And it's great to, try and educate kids on the different paths you can take, because there's really nothing that talks about directly different fields, and a lot of people don't really know, even I feel like adults don't really know what civil engineering is, and if they do, it's much later down the line when they meet somebody who is one. So it's not technically the civil engineering path. I'm also going to be talking about trade schools and different paths, working as a general contractor, construction manager. That's not technically, you don't need a civil engineering degree. There are different ways to pursue those. A civil engineering degree is just one way to do that. So as a general contractor, you can work ground level. You're a laborer. You're the guy helping everybody out. Or you can be, you work your way up and gain qualifications so that you can be an operator, or you're working your way into kind of one niche in general contracting. So there's the operator who runs the machinery, and then there's the foremen who are ahead of the laborers, operators, making sure, doing their best to stay on schedule and prioritizing what needs to be done next and working towards that. The superintendent, sometimes they have multiple jobs that they're covering. Sometimes if it's a big enough job and there's 3 or 4 crews, usually the superintendent will just be on that one job. Just making sure, again, it's higher level, really the biggest thing is scheduling materials, things like that. So as you get up the ranks, you're more in tune with the schedule and higher level things, so that you can make sure things are prioritized and you're working on the schedule for that project. So like I said, a superintendent might be on multiple projects, and the project manager normally again will have multiple projects that they're covering. Even if it's large projects, that's the project manager's job, is to maintain the schedule, keep up with their superintendents and their foremen, and get to know where they're at so they can adjust their schedule accordingly. And if issues come up, escalating that and making sure the owner or the construction manager know of that. So as a general contractor, there's so many different ways to go about it. You can work as a general contractor and really just maintain the schedule and hire out and do subcontracting for everything else. So let me show you a job that I worked on that was like that. So here's some photos from a job that I was on. So we were on a student housing development. This was about a $70 million job, and it was 75 buildings. So as you can see, it's a very, very, very large project. So this is what the buildings look like. So we had about 10 crews. We had framers, windows, roofers, insulation, plumbing, electric. You have about 10 crews working in each house. And so to come up with a way that works most efficiently, usually what they would do is they'd have each crew would have 4 or 5 houses that they were working on. So it would start with the foundations, and then the framers would come in, and then the plumbers, the electric, the insulation would follow. So just imagine if one group gets backed up, if one person falls behind or one crew falls behind schedule, that affects everybody else, and you're pushing the whole project back, and that could be $10,000 a day that you're losing on a $70 million project that's supposed to get done in a year. Just think about the impacts of that, the stress that falls under a general contractor. And so the general contractor that I was working for really maintained schedule, kept communications with the owner, and also stayed in tune with all of the foremen that were working on this project to make sure everything's going smoothly, and addressing things that weren't going smoothly. So Kenneth said, I used to work in the construction industry, hauling. Used to haul earth materials to different construction projects, dealt with a lot of engineers and contractors. I can say that there's indeed a lot of opportunities. Oh yeah. And there's so many different paths you can take. It's really a great thing. And I'll talk about the different comparing the different money you can make you might assume that a contractor makes a lot less money than an engineer or construction manager. And that's not the case. So to be able to come out without a degree, choose a totally different path, and still be just as successful and be working outside and with people, there's just so many different opportunities in this field. So these are the photos from that project, just so you guys can get a look at that. So that's the general contractor. That's the gist of that. A construction manager usually is the owner's eyes on a project. So that project I last worked on, that we didn't have a construction manager. The general contractor kind of was trusted enough to act as the construction manager, had close enough contact with the owner that they essentially were the ones holding up the standards for quality and safety and everything. So that's normally what a construction manager does. If you have a construction manager on the project, their job is to ensure things are getting built to the plans and specifications specified for that project or by the owner. And these, what I have written out here, OSHA, NICET, PMP, and PE, those are all different certifications you can get as a construction manager. So there's not necessarily different levels. You can be where I'm working now, we have a field construction manager, and we may have 4 or 5, field construction managers, and then we have a lead field construction manager who is, managing us and, organizing which crews we're watching and things like that. So like I said, we're making sure things are getting built to plans and specs, and also looking at safety and just quality assurance in general. And then we also work with the contractor to make sure things are staying on schedule, and if issues or anything arise, we make contact with the owner, and there's daily reports we do for the owner as well. So let me show you some jobs where I worked as a construction manager. So I work in the gas industry. So this is a gas line that's being constructed. You can see the welder. You can see this is one of the foremen that I was working with, and the different things that go into construction. You really need to think about trenching, and there's a lot that goes into it. It may not look like a lot, but that one stick of pipe that they're placing is around 4,000 pounds. So to think about, to make sure they're doing it safely while they have traffic going by them and things like that. There's a lot to think about, and making sure that, and as you're working as the contractor, that's why you have so many different levels of operator, qualifications, no matter what you're doing. And you can kind of create your own path in that sense, depending on what company you're working for and what kind of work you're doing. So here's just some more pictures. So they're going to be installing the gas main on right here. It's the right side of this picture. They'll be coming through and installing the gas main. So they needed to lay timber mats through the woods here and cut down a bunch of trees. Really kind of insane what they did here, and it was really cool to walk up there. So I got a nice picture of that as well. So let's now go to engineering. Now, what engineering is, Oliver, get down. Engineering is where you're really building as a civil engineer, I build the design plans for a project. So I could go back to this. This is really, one of the plans of probably, I think there are about 100 sheets in this plan set to really, show off how the buildings will be built, and it includes the plumbing, the electric, everything. And obviously that's not just the civil engineer. The civil engineer focuses mainly on site design, so they'll do the asphalt. This is likely a civil engineer who did these plans right here, but then you'll have electric engineers do the electrical, and mechanical, I believe, usually falls for plumbing. You'll have structural engineers, which technically is a part of civil, but a specialized form of it. So a lot of different people working on here, and civil engineers are normally or at least in the company I work with, they're normally the people who do the project management for the engineers. So they'll gather the team of the electrical engineers, the mechanical engineers, structurals that they're working for, so that they can work together to get the plans done and really develop the best thing that they can develop. So I'm showing these two levels here. You can be an EIT, which is what I currently am. That's an engineer in training. And then a PE is professional engineer, and that takes about 4 years after you get after you pass a test and start your career as a engineer in training. Then you're able to apply and take another test to be a professional engineer. And I never really went through the certifications for construction manager. The big one that I want to highlight is the PMP. That's a project management professional. And anyone high level in construction management likely has that certification, and opportunities come from getting more certifications, and that falls in line with everything here. The more certifications you have as a general contractor, construction manager, or usually certifications are in construction management and engineering. General contracting, that falls as operator qualifications. That leads towards a specialty. But in construction management, engineering, the more certifications you have, the more valuable you are. And the PE is, a high level certification that you get, and so you get that title of being a PE, which any project manager or high level engineer will have that. That's good that I'm going through this. So Before I start, I want to ask you guys what you think, what society tells you, or just in what you're thinking, who here makes the most money. If you think of a senior level general contractor, project manager, uh, construction manager with a PMP, or an engineer with a PE with senior level experience, who do you think makes the most money? The GC, the CM, or the engineer? I'll ask somebody. This is me talking out my thoughts here. I'll ask somebody, and I think normally society tells us that the general contractor would be making the least, and the man sitting in the office is who makes the most money. So the engineer's making the most money, and I'll say, okay, well, I looked on Indeed.com and looked in Seattle for a high level or senior level engineer with a PE, and they make around $120,000. That's about average for the number of jobs that I found. I took Seattle just because I knew there's a lot of work in that area, and it's not like working in Boston or New York City where you're going to have inflated rates. I don't want you guys to look at unrealistic numbers. If I looked in upstate New York, I'd expect not as many opportunities as Seattle, but a similar pay. So this is a senior level PE. This is somebody with 5 to 10 years experience with a PE looking for another job. So they come in making $120,000. After they get hired, it honestly probably doesn't go up much at all from there, to be honest. So then, as a construction manager, here is what you'd make as a senior level if you have a PMP certification, $125,000. So we're actually heading in the opposite direction. And then this last one, a general contractor working as a project manager, and their senior level, $140,000. And so that gives you an idea, it's really an equal playing field. If you had to ask me, it's kind of in line with the stress levels that you have. As an engineer, you're really, there are engineers who work 60, 70-hour weeks and they're pushed to their limits and they're stressed out. But, the usual thing is they'll work their 40 hours and go home. At least if you find a company, it really all is based on the company. But construction managers, obviously dealing in the field and working with general contractors, it can be difficult. And if you're on the large projects, there's always stress that comes with it, whether it's with homeowners, anybody that you're working with. And then a general contractor, normally they're pushed to work to their limits. They'll be working 60, 70-hour weeks. So hopefully they get hourly pay rather than salary, but most of them are salary and they're pushed to those limits. So it's really in line with stress levels. But I want to show you guys the different paths you can take. And like I said, the general contractor, construction manager, you don't necessarily need a degree. And this might open your eyes a little bit. If you work in a trade, if you're a welder, an electrician, a plumber, I also looked in those areas. I didn't put it here because it kind of falls out of this area, but it's within general contracting. So if you're a welder or an electrician and you have a lot of experience, you can also be in the upper, six figures and above, $100,000 to $120,000 range a year. And so, that really goes to show is you don't necessarily need a degree to be successful in this field. It may be a more stressful job than if you go take the path as an engineer, but you're working outside, you're working with people, so it's all whatever fits your personality and what you're looking for in a career. So that opens your eyes. I just want to highlight all the different opportunities, different ways you can go. And another benefit if you go the trade school route is you don't have those student loans, which is basically, for me right now, it's basically a car payment. I'm paying $350 a month on student loans for 10 years. And that's how it is. And I'm lucky to only have to pay that much. So that puts it in perspective of the benefits of going that route, and really just shows you the different routes you can take. So this covers everything that I want to discuss in the construction industry. So now let's move forward to questions that you guys had asked. So these were brought to me from you guys. These two questions really stuck out to me as very insightful. So this first one: this year has been challenging for virtually everyone. Do you have any strategies for overcoming adversity and building personal resilience? And then the second one: from your perspective, what one or two skills are imperative for success in life? And I feel like I can kind of answer these questions at the same time. A lot of work that I do outside of my career, I actually work in the self-development space. So I'm talking to people about self-improvement, goal setting, confidence, and things like that. So that's what we are about to dig into today. So right here, we're talking about goals. So rather than just thinking of it as goal setting, think of it as improving yourself. You really have these 5 areas of your life that I'm showing. You have lifestyle, you have career, you have education, you have health and fitness, and you have relationships. Now, a lot of people just don't take the time to reflect on where they are at in these areas and think of how they can improve in these areas. So the key, if you want to set goals, you want to improve yourself, it's reflecting to yourself and saying, which areas do I need most improvement on? And think to yourself, what does success mean to you? Something, and again, this is good that I'm running through this because I want to actually ask the kids beforehand, before I show this slide. I want to say, if you guys had to answer the question, what is success? If you had to give a one-word definition for what success is, what would that be? And an answer I want to get, that I'm expecting to get from the crowd, is money. A lot of people think of success as money, and I want to look up the actual definition, but it's actually fulfillment. It's fulfillment in all of these areas. Career, money obviously plays a part in that, but the rest of it, you really need to make sure that you're fulfilled and you're happy. You need to understand that money isn't necessarily going to bring you success, and you feeling fulfilled in life. So you really need to think about all these areas and how you can improve in these areas. So, and if I have time, I'll talk about, and this is just me thinking out loud, I'll talk about my, the way I set goals. So if somebody asks that, or maybe if I have time during this, I will go through it. So, a strategy for overcoming adversity and building personal resilience would really be improving where you can improve, and then making it a point to build confidence in yourself. If you're improving these areas of your life, you're really going to start to build confidence. So now I'm going to move into 3 ways that you guys can work on your confidence. The way I see, there's really 3 ways to do that. The first thing, and I've already mentioned this, is to reflect. So thinking to yourself, really taking that time to sit down, think about what area of your life you can improve. The second would be journaling. So taking the time to write things out really helps me, and I think you'll find it beneficial just to go home at the end of the day and write about what happened, how you feel about current events going on in the world, things like that. It really helps to form your own opinions on things. And then there's also talking to people, talking to friends, talking to family, and if you need a therapist, talking to a therapist. I think it's beneficial for everybody to really talk to somebody, no matter who it is. And so reflecting can really help you build confidence in a situation, because it really helps you set the foundation for how you feel about a situation. And then educating. to realizing what area you need to build improvement on. If you educate yourself, they say knowledge is power or knowledge is potential. So learn through books, learn through podcasts, learn through YouTube videos and things like this. And so educating yourself in all of these ways will really help you build confidence in that area. And then once you have reflected, you have that education, it's really not going to take you anywhere until you put it into practice. So that's that third part. So, take what you've learned, put it into practice. If you, found a program that you want to try out, that's a workout program, you need to implement it to really see if it works for you. Everybody's different. So everybody's, approach to getting their ideal body, whatever that is, in their mind. And that these are all things to think about. And I'm talking about all these areas of your life: health and fitness, relationships, lifestyle. Everybody's different. Their definition of success is totally different from your definition of success. And that's the beautiful thing. And it's some people are more inclined by money than other people, and some people want to reach their ideal body, and that'll be part of their picture of success. And so realizing that's we're all unique in that sense, and finding what success means to you is what it is all about. So yeah, that's the work I do as an author and in the self-development space. And so my first book, which just released in March, is Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness. And what it is it covers 6 individuals in the space, from physical therapists to strength and conditioning coaches to nutritionists, and really goes through their backgrounds, how they built the platform they have today, and all their tips and tricks from studying them for months at a time. So it's really not about me, but I also do live streams where I really, connect with people. I'll do my morning routine where I go over a quote with people every day. And so it's just a nice way to start the day and just start off with a positive mindset and thinking about these things. And so that's what I do as kind of a creative outlet outside of the sort of mundane engineering world. So this kind of gives you a sense on the creative side. If you're a creative, whether you are a musician or an artist or a writer like me, I definitely encourage you guys to look into the live streaming space to help sort of build your audience and connect with people more. And even if you're just learning an instrument, live streaming that, if you're passionate about it, or if you're at a level where you can educate people, it's really a great way. So, Jasmine, hello, Jasmine. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And she says, I went to construction grade school. Is that like through trade school in grade school, or did he mean construction trade school? She says, I love working with my hands. Yeah, it's definitely underappreciated, and I definitely want to highlight what you can do going through trade school and the success that people find being a welder, an electrician, a plumber, and working in a specialty in that area. I definitely want to highlight those things. So I'm going to be talking to people in the construction industry as well as creatives. If you're just jumping in, Jasmine, this is definitely not your typical morning chat room. What I'm going through is a presentation I'm going to be giving later to a high school for a nonprofit organization that talks to kids about opportunities when they get out of high school. So yes, so thank you all for being here. That really runs through my whole presentation, and then we'll be doing one-on-one question Q&A and things like that. If you guys have any comments, any feedback on the presentation, please let me know. If there's other things I should mention, things I should cut out, things I should highlight, I'd love to hear your guys' perspective on it. So again, thank you all. I know it was long. think I need to work on cutting down that, and I think I went about 15. So I need to work on that. All right, I think that covers everything. I'll let you guys go on your day now. I hope you still got some value out of it from talking about goal setting, confidence, and things like that. Maybe it opened your eyes to all the opportunities for people who are in the construction industry, or you got some enjoyment out of talk or learning more about that and everything involved. Thank you guys for being here, Jasmine, Kenneth. And again, I realize it's not the normal morning chat room. I'm just preparing for my speech that's later on. It's 1:30, and I don't think it's live where you can watch it, at least as far as I know. Anyways, thank you all, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. So go crush it today.